Caroli was only 12 years old when her father died. He had worked on an oil rig in Lake Palkner. They said that there had been an accident one night and that he fell into the waters. His body was never found, but Caroli's family held a funeral for him just the same. Shortly after this, Caroli began having nightmares. She would never actually remember the dreams, but they disturbed her greatly. Many a night she would wake in the clutches of intense fear, feeling confused and lost. Sometimes when she woke up, she would find herself in other parts of the house. This sleepwalking only added to the effect of the nightmares, for as you can imagine, waking up somewhere other than your own bed is most disorienting. By the time autumn was approaching, Caroli's mother told her that they were moving to her grandparents' house outside of the city. Her grandparents owned an old wooden house, the kind they don't make nowadays. It was at the end of a dirt road called Blackberry Lane. Nearby, there was a woods that covered a few miles. This was the house that Caroli's father had grown up in. Though it was somewhat creaky and chilly, it had a certain familiarity to it, like her family belonged there. Caroli got a little room on the second story of the house. At the end of the hall, down from her room, there hung a large framed oil painting. The painting was of a wooded grove. At the center of the grove, next to a river, stood a huge, gnarled tree. Now, as most of us tend to do, Caroli usually just walked past this painting, never giving it too much of a look. But one day, as she passed by, something caught her eye. She studied the painting a bit closer, and there, on the gnarled tree, was a face. It wasn't too distinct, but she definitely saw some sort of face which appeared to be growing on or coming through the trunk of the tree. This mildly disturbed Caroli, and throughout the day, she couldn't get the face out of her head. That evening at dinner, she asked her grandparents about the painting. They told her that her grandfather had painted it, that he'd been inspired by the woods nearby. Caroli mentioned the scary face on the tree to them, but they merely dismissed her. That is only your imagination, child. Imagination or not, the painting triggered Caroli's nightmares. That very night, she experienced a particularly unsettling one, and this time, she would remember the dream. At first, there was only a voice amidst darkness. Come. It called to her. Then, the darkness faded. She found herself lying underneath the great, gnarled tree from the painting. The beckoning caused her to get up and walk over to the bank of the river. As she peered into the river, she saw, just below the surface of the water, her father's face, pale and lifeless. At this point, she was awakened by her mother. The dream ended abruptly. Caroli found herself standing in the hallway. She had been sleepwalking again. She threw her arms around her mother and began sobbing. Caroli's mother stayed with her, comforting her until she fell asleep. Caroli kept away from the painting after that. If she ever had to go down that end of the hallway, she would avert her eyes. Even when she did so, she still felt like the eerie gaze of the face on the tree was watching her. For a few weeks, things seemed to be getting back to normal. Caroli was adjusting to her new life away from the hustle and bustle of the city. She was starting to enjoy the peace of living closer to what her mother called the country. Her grandparents showed her old pictures of her father and would talk about the things the family used to do long before she was born. Autumn was starting to settle in, which caused the trees to take on an array of fall colors, and enticed Caroli into taking strolls through the woods She would never go too far, though. Caroli secretly hoped that her woes had ended, but the nightmares, however, had other ploys. A couple of nights later, Caroli had another bad dream. She was surrounded by a dark gloom and a deep coldness. No matter how tightly she wrapped her arms around herself, the chill invaded her to the bone. She opened her eyes and found that she was at the end of the hall. She was fixated upon the painting and could not look away. The face on the tree was clearer than before. It was an ugly face, twisted and frowning. It stared at Caroli and then started to speak.
We are waiting, Caroli. It is not polite to keep us waiting.
The voice was low-pitched and raspy, and rattled around inside of Caroli's ears. She didn't know what to do. She tried to turn away, but found herself unable to. She then noticed something else in the painting. A short ways away from the roots of the tree, in the river, was a face in the water. She knew it to be her father. At that moment, Caroli's mother called out in a loud whisper. This snapped Caroli out of her trance. She grabbed a hold of her mother and cried that the face in the painting was talking to her. Her mother turned on the hallway light and studied the painting. After a few seconds, she told Caroli that she didn't see anything and that it had just been a bad dream. The next day, Caroli pleaded to be given a new room. Her mother nodded in agreement, wanting to do anything to ease her daughter's nighttime troubles. Her grandparents suggested that they clean out the den and move Caroli's bed into it. They explained that when Caroli's father was young, it had been his room. Caroli's mother asked if that sounded okay, and she said yes. Caroli got moved into her new room in no time. She felt tremendous relief in not having to go into the upstairs hall anymore. Again, she started to feel at ease in the old house. Little did she know, the worst was just around the bend. No more than 2 weeks later, there came a dreadful occurrence. Lightless dark encompassed Caroli, along with a grave chill. She knew that she was sleepwalking, for she could feel her feet moving beneath her. She could hear the soft crunches of dead leaves. As well, she could hear a voice, dark and warbled.
Caroli, let's not be silly. We know why they can't see us. See us for who we really are. They would never let you in on this. But the river is a great place to spend forever.
Caroli's mother awoke that night. She thought she'd heard something. Concerned about her daughter's sleepwalking, she got up to look for her. She looked in her room and all over the house, but could not find her. She woke the grandparents, and the three of them searched together. They looked under beds, in closets, behind couches. Then, her grandfather discovered that the back door was hanging slightly ajar. They went around looking for her and calling out her name. Throughout the night, the next day, and into the following weeks, search after search turned up nothing. As it stands, Caroli was never seen again. But if you were so inclined, you could drive out east of Lake Palkner to the old house down Blackberry Lane, and if you looked at the painting at the end of the upstairs hall, you just might see a strange face in the tree, or maybe two faces under the surface of the river, pale and lifeless.